on, fellas? Hey, this is Brian, aka Uncle B, and welcome to Goodwood University Office Hours. I'm glad to have you on. We have a very interesting subject to talk about today. We're talking about infertility. What's going on, Fred? We're talking about guys who are having problems not only with their erections, but going even deeper into some other things. And I want to just first of all say, hey, you know what we do around here at office hours? We have a topic that we go over, but it's all about you. It's all about getting your questions in, getting things answered. If you have any problems hearing me, go ahead and let me know in the chat section. Also, let me know where you're representing from. You know, we got a bunch of guys in here, and I want you to feel free to ask questions. Typically, we get questions right before I sign off. It always happens. What's going on, Curtis? All right, Callie in the house. So I love it. Let's go ahead and get into some things that we really need to talk about because this isn't talked about enough. We are facing some serious issues when it comes to men's overall sexual health, testosterone, et cetera, et cetera. And it's important that we have this discussion because it's all about where we are in terms of our lifestyle right now. Because what is going on in this world where we have I've heard of let me just call them nephews. I guess nephew is like in his teens, and they're saying already there's an issue there. Another nephew in his was 21. Got another nephew who's 35. All these are actually not my nephews, but my man actually has fertility issues at his age, and so it's important because it applies to all of us. This applies to all of us because this could happen to you. And when we say this could happen to you, not only just the infertility, but also erectile dysfunction because of a number of reasons. Because, you know, we have the natural ways to overcome erection issues, and then there are the unnatural ways. And we're going to talk about both of those and how those add up to us having issues. Because when it comes to natural ways to overcoming erections, we always talk about, you know, your energy, sleep, exercise, intermittent fasting, and so, you know, we talk about the supplementation, the natural supplementations. The things we don't talk about are pills, not the gas stations pills, not the pharmaceuticals. I mean, you know, things have their place, but you have to understand that pills are just something that's designed to do one specific thing in your body. And herbs and things like that, things from nature, are designed to complement your entire body and take care of that particular issue. That's the way this is supposed to work. Unfortunately, we live in a pill society. And you know, a lot of times people are taking pills and not having a full understanding. It's like, oh, I'm just supposed to take the pill and that's going to work. That's not necessarily going to do it. Good afternoon to you too, Carl. But yeah, we're talking about things like, you know, we got the Viagra, the Cialis, Levitra. All of them basically are doing is there's a chemical that releases the blood from out of your penis. It kills that chemical temporarily, and that's how you get the blood flow. Stops inside the penis. You have an erection. It hasn't taken care of your blood flow. Other blood flow issues, hasn't taken care of the testosterone. It hasn't taken care of the patterns that led you to that. And the reason why I wanted to talk about the medications is because you have to be careful when taking medications. I'm not a doctor. I don't play one on YouTube, but the medications are designed to do the one thing. And so if you're having issues with your heart, well, okay, they're going to get, they worked, studied, figured out how to help your heart. That has nothing to do with your erection. So I know guys who have taken medication for one thing and ended up with erectile dysfunction, even, you know, for depression pills. I mean, there's nothing more depressing than I'm take a pill and now my Johnson doesn't work. That's not cool at all. And besides, you know, when we're talking about, you know, taking things like a Viagra, Mission Impossible. Hey, appreciate you, man. Yeah. Have to get that taken care of. We're talking about the you know, we got the medications with Viagra. We got headaches, dizziness, visual issues, red in the face, all these other symptoms. And think about this. Whenever you hear some medication on TV and they're saying headache, dizziness, nose trouble, visual issues, all these different things, they line up. They have to say that. You'll notice that, you know, back in the day, they would say it really fast. And by the way, headache, may cause shits in your sleep, all types of crazy things they say really, really fast. And then they came up with laws like, no, you got to slow it down. So now they have people leaping through lily pads and through the field saying, oh, may cause headaches and this. The issue with that is that that's the extreme end of it. There are things that led up to causing headaches, causing this, causing that. If you're taking medication and the back end results are that negative, then you have to really question that medication. Once again, I'm not saying not to take your medication. You have to, be in consult with the person who is diagnosing you, but you do need to understand that you can't stay there. That's the number one thing. If you're on medication, the point of medication, let me be very clear. For me, if I'm in a car accident, yeah, if something broken, yeah, right there. This you need another vein, whatever drug I need to take. That's great. I just don't want to live off of that drug for the rest of my life. That's the most important thing. And also when it comes to surgery, this. I talked to guys who were talking about getting penile implants and things of that nature. Recognize that surgery is permanent. You're cutting something, and you're cutting one of the most sensitive parts of your body. It's going to be in pain for a long time. And also, typically with the penile implants, we had the guys who were getting the pumps and everything like that. It's just not romantic. Let's just be honest about it. It's like, hey, girl, come on, ready for you now. That's not the best look. That is not the best look. And also, when it comes to surgery down there, you could actually end up with a weird looking Johnson after that. And also the other thing in terms of testosterone replacement therapy, please guys, be very careful with this thought process. When we talk about testosterone, your body produces it a small bit in the pituitary gland, the rest of it in your testes. Yeah, you need testosterone all over your body. You have more testosterone receptors in your heart than any other place in your body. So when you're trying to replace that system, as I always say, you don't fuck with your endocrine system. When you start messing with your testosterone levels, a lot of things, it's a watershed event. A lot of other things happen. One of the things that some guys don't recognize about testosterone replacement is, one, that you can stay on it. You may need to stay on it for the rest of your life. Don't fuck with your endocrine system. And two, you may end up in a situation where you may not be able to have children. Yeah. So you want to be very careful. And, once you get that first testosterone replacement therapy, then you may need to get onto estrogen. Because this is what happens. You put in exogenous testosterone from outside of your body into your body. Your body's like, I didn't dial this up. I don't know why we have so much testosterone, but let's go ahead and send out the estrogen to lower the testosterone, because your body's looking for homeostasis. Your body's looking for its homeostasis. So it's like, whatever I can survive at and be, comfortable, that's where I want to be. If you're jacking up your testosterone, your estrogen is like, okay, well, we need to come up so we can lower this back down. And you start getting into a situation where you're taking testosterone, then estrogen, then you're taking aromatase, aromatase inhibitor. I mean, science gets really deep at that point. So you want to be very careful with that, to the point that you don't need that at all. For those who are just joining us, hey, this is Brian, aka Uncle B. This is Goodwood University office hours, where basically 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I hop on so I can answer your questions. So please leave those in the comment section. And yeah, we're talking about infertility today and the things that lead up to it, why you should be concerned, especially if you have sons, nephews, etc. Even daughters, if you're trying to have a grandson or a granddaughter. Another thing that's come out is shockwave therapy. I'm not a fan. Because you're, once again, only dealing with one part of your body. So whenever we're talking about your penis, if you have penis issues, erection issues, they call it the canary in the coal mine. It's an early warning signal that something else is wrong. So if you're it's sort of like, hey, I'm just going to go into the coal mine and fix the coal mine and not fix everything else that's leading up to the coal mine being a problem. So if you have blood pressure issues, it's going to show up in your erections. If you have cholesterol issues, it's going to show up in your erections. I mean, too much cholesterol, not the good cholesterol. If you have, weight issues, all the different issues that you can have will show up in your erections first. So it's just an early warning signal that something else is wrong. So if you're just going to go in with the shockwave therapy, the whole idea is that it's supposed to it's been used in orthopedics for years to help heal broken bones, injuries, ligaments, torn tendons, things like that. But it's not, something that's FDA assured because it's not necessarily going to work. And the effects of it is supposed to last about a year. It's expensive and it's temporary. And you still haven't dealt with the fact that the real reason why you have this issue is that you haven't been taking care of your entire body. And that's what's necessary. That's the whole point of all of this, is to get us to the point where we understand, what is necessary. If you're having issues with your erections, it's because of your patterns. That's it. That's the number one. I mean, there's other, it's millions of billions of humans on this planet. Obviously, there are going to be a million other reasons. But the vast majority of time, unless you've had, just a straight up chemical imbalance in your body, you've had injury. Other than those two main things, outside of that, it's your pattern. It's like, what did you eat yesterday? Was that designed for your energy, or was that designed for your just your pleasure? Those type of things can do play a huge factor in what you need to do. So it's always, what we advocate over here is always about figuring out the pattern, what you can do every day. Because to be honest with you guys, your body already knows what to do. It's pre-programmed. You don't have to find the latest, greatest protein cookie, protein candy bar to fix yourself. Your body already knows what to do. It's just a matter of getting that information and then start tailoring it to you. Whenever I talk about some of the things you need to do, sleep is at the top in terms of, it's the greatest chemical ever. It's the greatest chemical producing situation ever. And for me, I'm a person is, if I get 6 hours of sleep, it's shocking. I'm just wired that way. Not like everybody. Some people, they need to get their 8 hours of sleep, or they don't feel good. Whatever you need to figure out for yourself, so you get to the best possible position for you. So once again, if you have not already, go ahead and hop into the comment section and let me know what your questions are. There was a question from yesterday. I'm trying to remember. Someone had asked. But yeah, one other thing I want to talk about in terms of the infertility side of things is that this is a growing problem. If you went back to the 1950s and they did surveys back then to ask men about, basically erectile issues, it wasn't like a huge thing because only 2% of men were reporting this. And now we're, close to 50%. And this is because of the lifestyle. If you think about what happened back in the 1950s, TV went off, you went to sleep, et cetera, et cetera. Life was completely different. And now, we're at the point where it's really important. I'm sorry, I got something popping up on my screen here. It's really important that we sort of go back, reverse engineer, get back into what we're supposed to be doing on the regular with our lives, because we're now at the point where our testosterone levels have gone down precipitously. There's a lot of people below the threshold that they need to be at for a healthy sex life, but that's for the guys who are older. It's like your grandfather has more testosterone than you do now at the same age. Your father, your great grandfather, all going on. The testosterone levels have been going down because of our lifestyles. If we look at the next generation, not only are they saying that the next generation of men are the ones who are going to have the least likely ability to live as long, also being able to have children. So this is something that's important in terms of like spreading the news, letting the young guys know. It's like, hey, put that hamburger down. Hey, go to sleep. Hey, stop looking at your screen all the time. I mean, those type of things we have to let them know. The number of high school students who are not getting good, adequate sleep so they can function properly is drastic. I remember when I was in high school, well, we didn't have any gadgets or phones or anything to, stay there and stay awake, and definitely didn't have a TV in my bedroom. So when it was time to go to sleep, hey, I could sit there with a book, which would put me to sleep. So we need to get back to that and need to let all the young men know about that as well. One of the things I did want to do, I wanted to share with you guys is, hmm, let me see, let me bring it up right quick. Um, Wanted to talk about one of the issues that we have in terms of what we're not doing as a community as a whole, and that's having these types of discussions where we're talking about um, where we're talking about all of the type of issues that we're talking about right now. I actually love doing this, the having these conversations like this, because I get to talk about some things that I don't normally talk about on a regular YouTube channel, and that's because we're not, I'm going to say allowed to, but it's not as popular. So if I do a food video, I know everybody's, man, we love talking about that food, especially if it can help us. All right, let's go ahead and hop into some questions really quick. Uh-huh. All right. So, Splash 1976. Great show. What is the effect of the high insulin glucose on all of this? Is it a bigger factor than cardiovascular issues? That's an interesting question. Or all they all part of the same problem? Actually, they're all part of the same problem. It all plays in together. So when it comes to sugar, one of the things to understand is that sugar is new to the human experience. Sugar was discovered roughly 1,500 years ago in India, where basically they were taking cane and they were sugar cane and pressing it and getting, the sugar out of it in the form of molasses. It got discovered in India, went to England, and then from there it just, because it's sugar. Sugar lights up your brain like it's cocaine. That's the reason why kids like can't help themselves. And if you're taking in sugar, you're just like the kids. Your body's going, but you have a little bit more control. You're not just jumping up and running. But when you have that sugar in your system, first thing it's going to do is drop your testosterone levels. For a good half an hour, and the older you get, you don't need your testosterone dropped at all. Now, if you're having your testosterone dropped consistently throughout the day, you're going to run into obviously a bunch of problems. And that happens. We're only supposed to get it depends on who you ask, 22 grams of sugar per day. Some people, the World Health Organization, I think they were trying to lower it to like it's like 10, something like that, because it's so prevalent. It's like you get a glass of orange juice. It's 22. This is healthy. Orange juice first thing in the morning, 22 grams of sugar, and then after that, it's all downhill. We're just constantly consuming more and more sugar. Your soda, basically anything that's in the grocery store, especially like a 7-Eleven or something like that, processed foods, they're putting sugar into everything. So you're getting sugar in stuff that you didn't even consider that they would put sugar in. Why would you put sugar in ketchup? The taste, that's what you're used to. They're putting sugar into the French fries. I mean, they're putting sugar in everything. So even the things that you don't think they need sugar in, why do you need sugar in macaroni and cheese? I've seen my mother make macaroni and cheese. There wasn't any sugar in there. Why would you do that? But the sugar in milk. So sugar and cheese. So there's sugar everywhere. And so you definitely have to be careful with that, because sugar is going to lower your testosterone. And comparing it to cardiovascular issues is actually going to cause cardiovascular issues, because you're making more work for your body in a couple of different ways. So whenever you get a fat cell, that fat cell didn't just show up and it's by itself. It's actually connected to your heart. So there's a blood vessel capillary, something leading to that individual fat cells. You keep on accumulating fat cells. Even when you lose weight, the fat cell doesn't go anywhere. It just shrinks. So if you are putting on a ton of weight, putting a ton of fat onto your system, then your heart has to work that much harder to feed that. Now, for the guys who are skinny fat, sort of the same thing, but we also have to pay attention to the fact that it's sort of like plumbing, live plumbing, and that it needs to function correctly. And if you're constantly spiking your insulin, your that thing that you feel, that what you used to feel, that sugar rush that you would feel when you were a kid, that's still there. Well, that's your body like, hey, what are we going to do with all this energy? And you're not wearing that energy out. It's causing more pressure on your heart to do more work. So hope that answers that question. So high sugar, you have to, really pay attention to it. I was lucky in that when I was younger, my father, this dude would like, he didn't put sugar in anything. We had Kool-Aid. You know, the Kool-Aid, the red, purple source Kool-Aids, all this stuff. He would put like a half a cup of sugar in it. It's supposed to be a whole cup. So I got used to that. So I wasn't, sugar isn't an issue with me, but I do know a lot of guys that sugar is, crazy with it. Hey, thanks, man. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right, let's get to it. Mission Impossible. Uncle B asked some African fly. I heard you say that good wood is a derivative of that. The only difference is that the stinging nettle is added ingredient. So, with that said, what brand? So, um, just to give everybody a quick background, this African fly is the brand name we started with. Ooh, what year was that? 1999. Oh my God. Um, yeah, we have African fly. We changed the name to Goodwood to better reflect what the product actually is. African fly was we took the name from Spanish fly. And Spanish fly was actually a Spanish beetle that was crushed that would cause irritation to your urethra, causing an erection or causing death. Any other Spanish fly you've heard of since then is just a knockoff of that. We took African fly, just it was sounded good at the time, but good wood actually is, the ingredients in good wood, or African fly, formerly known as African fly, are actually the bark of tree, the stem of trees, the roots of trees, the leaves of trees. It's all about trees, so it's a better name of saying good wood. Now, all of that said, we changed the name to Good Wood. Then we have Good Wood Advanced. Good Wood Advanced, we did add stinging nettle to it. That is for us older guys. As you get older, what happens is your testosterone will start changing into estrogen through a process called aromatase. So as you're getting more testosterone, so you're taking Goodwood, and which will help your body naturally produce more testosterone. At the same time, you're losing testosterone as you get older because of aromatase. So if you're older and if you have belly fat, so or fat period, but especially if you have belly fat, the aromatase is going to get higher and higher. Also, there's another hormone called I love saying this, the sex binding hormone globulin. I got to get that figured out. But basically, it's another hormone that sort of tricks your testosterone into attaching to it instead of attaching to your testosterone receptors in your penis, in your heart, in your muscles, all the bound testosterone. So basically, here's the crazy thing about all this. In your body, you have total testosterone and you have free testosterone. The free testosterone is only 1 to 2%. That's all that's needed. So when we're talking about, you're trying to have an erection or something like that, your testes is releasing testosterone, your pituitary is releasing testosterone, but it's all of that, is the vast majority of testosterone is bound. You need that free testosterone to signal to your penis, like, hey, we have fuel. We have fuel to work. And so that's the reason why you want to, as you get older, you're losing that free testosterone to aromatase. So that's the whole reason why you have the stinging nettle in the Good Wood Advanced. So it will stop that process of aromatasing into estrogen and also binding with that other hormone. So now you have more free testosterone, better erections. All right. Hope that answers your question there, sir. I had to do that. What's going on, Eben? Michael Anderson. My advanced arrived yesterday. All right. Let me know how it goes, Mr. Anderson. Let me see. We got a question here. Do 4 eggs and protein increase testosterone? All right. That's an interesting way to look at things. So, all right, a couple of things about eggs. They've been called the perfect food for humans. I mean, it's an interesting concept, but I do not recommend eating eggs for testosterone. That's not necessary. There's cholesterol in the eggs that can be, testosterone is formed out of cholesterol. So if you're consuming eggs, you can say, oh yeah, it's going to increase my testosterone. But 4, definitely not 4. That's not necessary. I mean, unless you're a bodybuilder, unless you're using it for specific reason. And I want people to be very clear. Just a quick tangent. When people talk about being a bodybuilder, you're talking about a very specific thing that you're doing constantly. It's like a bodybuilder is a professional. A guy that goes to the gym and lifts weight is a guy that goes to the gym and lifts weights. There's a huge difference, and that we're not talking about. Oh, I took protein and I bought this equipment. We're talking about the amount of time and intensity that you're putting into something over a long period of time to get the muscular physique that people are like, oh, The Rock or whoever. It takes a long period of time of intense workout, serious. Some people do the thing of like, I'm going to do certain things like a bodybuilder, but not as much time in the gym. So, I'm only saying that because if you're saying 4 eggs, that's a lot. I'm assuming that you're trying to do something with that. So in terms of it, protein, all protein comes from plants. So there's, the sun hits the plant, photosynthesis, testosterone, protein is developed. Having protein and testosterone are tied in like everything else in your body. But, when it comes to producing testosterone, lifting weights is going to stimulate your muscle growth, and that's going to stimulate your testosterone. Your body's going to like, oh look, muscle got broken down, and so we need to dial up testosterone to repair that while you're asleep. And so lifting weights to get more muscle mass will definitely help. That muscle mass is typically built by protein. So just go ahead and eat plants. Doing the eggs, I'm not sure if that's going to depends on what your goal is. Depends on what your goal is. I hope that answers that question. All right. Eben, Mr. B, few questions. Can I take supplements while fasting? Yeah. Well, I would be sort of careful with that. So depends on what type of supplements you're taking. Just understand one that the supplements will technically break your fast. Anything with a calorie count, I believe, of over 8 or 10 is going to break your fast. So whenever I'm fasting, I will go with teas. And there's a couple of different types of fast. Let me just clear that up right quick. I mean, obviously there's the dry fast where you don't eat or drink. Not a good idea. You have the water fast, which that is a fast that basically allows for more weight loss. And because as soon as once again you brush your teeth with that sugary stuff, it's going to break your fast. But if you're going to take supplements, that's the way I function. I'll take teas. If you're going to take a supplement, my preference would be for a powder. For example, alrighty, this is ashwagandha powder, and this is ashwagandha pills. Both from the same company we partner with, Mother Nature's Organics. They have some great products. The difference just being that in the powdered form, you can sort of measure it out. In the pill form, it's just whatever you take. So my suggestion is if you're going to, you can just do straight teas. That's what I do. I take a matcha tea, something like that. But there are juice fasts, there are herb fasts, there are different types of fasts. And so if you want to have supplements, that's my preference is herbal fasting. I guess you would call it that, because while your body is going through autophagy, which fasting does, it allows your body to get rid of dead cells. It's like where you have something there replacing it. You have nutrition going into your body. It's just a better balance, especially if you're doing fasting, 2 times a month or something like that, or you're doing intermittent fasting. That's the preference. That's the preference. I hope that answered that question for you there, sir. All right. Mission Impossible. Yeah, that would be me, the older guy. I have these issues. My Johnson is not working as of 6 months ago. Most semis are not good, and that's not good enough. Help. Okay. So one of the things that we do with University is we actually have a men's performance score test. I'm not sure if you've taken that, sir, but that's sort of what we go off of, because that way you can figure out exactly what's going on. On that test, we basically ask your age, if you're taking any medications, What's your eating patterns like? How is your sleep? What is your stress levels? Do you do fasting, intermittent fasting, and some other questions? In that way, we can sort of baseline where you are on a scale of 1 to 10. 10 means everything works. 1 means you need to go to the hospital. 5 to 7 means you're unreliable. Mr. Impossible there. Basically, you're saying that you're sitting there at a 5. It's a 4 or a 5. That's that semi. It was like unreliable, and so you have to once again change your patterns, and that's what we talk about in terms of. Uh, hmm. Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Go ahead and take the. Let me go ahead. It should be in the description, where you can go to Goodwood University, and in Goodwood University, you'll see where we actually talk about what you can do in terms of taking that quiz. And in fact, what I want to do for you guys right now is this right here. Let me get my technology together. All right. Boom and boom. All right. So this is Goodwood University. You sign up. You hit that link below. We actually have a Wood on Demand challenge right now, and basically what that is it's the easiest 25. We talk about how you play this game, how you get to a point where you're able to score yourself. Once you come in, we talk to you about how to play, and you would look at this video right quick, and we also tell you about how to take the performance score, get your performance score. So this is where you would take the quiz. We have the bootcamp challenge video that basically explains everything. We have the easiest 25 daily tracker, and of course this is a downloadable app. What we do is we have something called roll call, where we basically, hey, as you're going through and you come up with different things, just thought processes, putting up pictures of like, this is what I ate. That's what roll call is about. And we have a scoreboard. Our scoreboard is basically what you did with your score. So Franco, you did a 25. You got a 20 from yesterday. We got the Father's Day score on there, and then we have a video library of all the things you would need to know in terms of how to succeed on this particular challenge. And we actually have a full course on basically what is ECS 25, all the good stuff. And of course, we have Goodwood University. We talk about what our charter is, what we do. We have different areas where we talk about the energy. We talk about your sleep. We talk about your exercise, what type of exercise, intermittent fasting, and we even have a challenge playbook, so you actually can go through and look at, get deeper into it. And we have soul studies. We talk about all the things that's needed in order for you to get to the best version of you. And also we have it takes you over to, it doesn't show up there. We have the Goodwood store, where we have all of the different things that you need in terms of supplements, other things like that. So I just wanted to share that with you guys real quick. So that's what you would get out of joining us with Goodwood University. Click on the link below, Brooklyn's Gift, for Goodwood University. And yep. Let me know if you do not see the link below in the description, and I will put it on for you guys. Let me see what we got right here. Also, if you'd like to go to givegoodwood.com, if you'd like to try out Goodwood Advanced, you want to try out Goodwood, you want to take a look at some of the other supplements that we have, some of the other products that we have. We want to take care of you in terms of your sleep, your exercise, everything. We're trying to put together as many things as possible so that you can be successful with your entire journey. So let's keep rocking. All right. There we go. Are there any other questions? Today we were talking about infertility, and all the things that lead up to infertility, the things we need to watch out for and to warn other people. Please go ahead, hit the like button, the subscribe button, so you can get some more of this information and we can spread the word. And yeah, I'm going to do this thing right quick. I'm going to put that last question, because I know there's a delay. I realize that there's a delay, 5-second delay. And so I'll say, last question, and right before we get off, somebody asks me a question. every time. I appreciate it though. So Once again, if you have not, go ahead, hit the like button, subscribe button. You want to join us over in Goodwood University, go ahead and do that. You can get your men's performance score and a whole lot of other information along with the encouragement. This is Brian, aka Uncle B. This is Goodwood office hours, Goodwood University office hours. Uh-huh. Oh, all right. So Eben said, what's the difference between Goodwood and Goodwood on demand? There isn't Goodwood on demand. It's just wood on demand. It's Goodwood, Goodwood Advanced, and then there's wood on demand. That's the challenge. Wood on demand challenge. All right. Yep. And Michael says the link is there. You have to expand the comments in the description. Yep, it is there. So yeah, please join us tomorrow. We'll be talking about what we're going to talk about tomorrow. If you're able to look at the live coaching schedule that we have on there. Oh, I didn't show you guys that. The live coaching schedule. Let me show that to you guys right quick. That's here. When you go to Goodwood University, you'll see, all the different events that we have. We have so tomorrow. Is it tomorrow? Is that today? I'm getting lost here. Tomorrow we talk about how to last all night with stronger erections, and soon we'll be talking about the real reason for weak wood, etc. And we also have some more other things that happen with Goodwood University. But right now, let's just. So, Tarkus Sims, I'm a 31-year-old man with epilepsy. Okay. That's a good one, man. Tarkus Sims says, I'm a 31-year-old man with epilepsy. I'm trying to see what healthy supplements I can take to help with sexual performance. Obviously, the first thing I'm going to say is good wood. But I would have to think on this for a hot second in terms of, I want to make sure it doesn't affect your current situation. But the reason why I would recommend good wood first is because it is a combination of 8 different herbs, and we use that to set up the balance. So what typically ends up happening if you're taking one particular herb, it's going to do one thing. It does a variety of things, but herbs typically are meant to taken together to accomplish a particular goal, because you want to treat several different things at the same time. For example, with Goodwood, it has your hemp, so it's going to increase your level of stamina. It has cinnamon, which is a mild aphrodisiac, so you want to get that drive. It has ginger to actually help with digestion, so that not only you're absorbing it, but it's getting into your system quickly. And so we have all the other herbs in there. At 31, I'm not sure if you need the nettle. I'm not sure if there's any other issues with your testosterone, but yeah. And of course, there are other herbs. You can go to givegoodwood.com, and we have those there. And in fact, let me just go to the next question, because that sort of answers this. Eben asked, can I take all the products together? I'm newly saying yes. I am newly saying this. Why am I newly saying yes? Because it wasn't until we teamed up with Mother Nature's Organics, and it was like, oh, okay, there's a whole bunch of different herbs. And so, once again, I got the ashwagandha, I got the black maca pills, got the black maca. I got a lot of stuff. I got black seed oil. The reason why, I'm now saying yes. One thing I wanted to be cautious. I wanted to be cautious. I see you, Curtis. I'm going to talk to you in a hot second. Appreciate you, man. One of the things that's important to understand is that you don't want to take a whole bunch of different supplements at the same time without trying to see what is actually doing. So, once again, I recommend taking good wood first, because we know what it's going to do. When you start adding in other things, you want to take your time. You want to step it through. So if I was to recommend you taking several different herbs, I would say, hey, start with goodwood, and maybe depending on what your situation is, if you're stressed out, I would say, okay, ashwagandha would help with your testosterone and it help with your stress levels. If you're having issues with, let's say, premature ejaculation, you need more stamina. I say huarnapo. I love saying that word. The Peruvian Viagra, as it were. So you can add them together, but you need to understand what those herbs are doing so that as you're adding them, you know what is doing what. And you can start saying, okay, well, I don't need this, or I do need this, or maybe I want to have more of this. So, me personally, I have taken all of these things at the same time. And I can tell you, the answer is yes. The answer is yes. You do want to be careful. You want to make sure you're taking natural products, no pills, none of the hard the pills you break open is white powder like some cocaine or something. You don't want to do that, but you want to take the natural stuff, and it does work. Yeah, it does work. Whew, it does work. It does work. Just leave it there. I was going to say some things that are too hot for you too. Okay. Curtis, hey man, appreciate that super chat there. What on off day cycle do you recommend for self pleasure? Are we referring to self pleasure as in uh, uh, masturbation? I'm assuming that, so I'm just going to go off of that. You could correct me in there. Um, yeah, for well, okay. The thing to understand, once you have the understanding of it, you can sort of figure out what your personal preference would be. Is that if you're talking about self pleasure in terms of masturbation, first of all, I would recommend doing that without porn. Use your memory, just use your memory, because the issue, particularly with porn, is that it floods your brain with dopamine. And your brain, it's like it likes dopamine. That's it's dope. You get pleasure out of that. So, one of the issues though is that when you're looking at porn, especially now, I've gone through the whole, we've probably gone through the whole thing of like seeing porn from, back in the day. We were looking at, Sears catalogs, like the, bra session. That was about as good as you got. Then you got the Playboys and the different magazines, and then it came the internet, and then it came like, ooh, 10-second clips. And then it went to like, oh, 30-second clips. Then it went to 40 seconds. Then it was like a whole minute. And then it was like, 5 minutes. You could watch whatever you want. You had to pay for it. And then it became free. Woo, it's too much. And that's what ends up happening is like, now you can see all types of things and your brain gets overstimulated. So it's dumping out all this dopamine, but the dopamine needs dopamine receptors. The dopamine receptors are the ones that are like, okay, we're going to connect and um, it's like that's what gives you that pleasure. So what ends up happening if you're watching too much porn on the regular, you'll actually get so used your the feel of your hand and seeing something, your body would get so used to that. It's like, oh, this is the real thing. We're good. And so when you get with a woman, get with your partner, now it's like, well, there's this a distance, I would say. It's like you're having sex and you actually have to like it's not enough for another human at that point to be able to stimulate you. It's like now you're like, okay, I need to have sex while looking at porn, or in order for me to have an erection or to ejaculate, I need to picture that thing that I saw that I like seeing with like it's a chandelier and some monkeys. I don't know. It's way too much stuff out there. Um, but you're becoming overstimulated. So that's the thing. In order to cycle off, it's better to cycle off. But masturbation is natural. It's something that every human throughout history has done. So it's important to understand that um, it's not a horrible thing, but it's not a good thing, especially if you overdo it. So yeah, I hope that answers your question there, Mr. Moore. If not, hit me back on the chat. Um, Eben says, I'm 52 and I just got my African fly. Do I go ahead and get the Goodwood Advance or wait? Or what? Or wait? All right. So I would say go ahead and use it. Just keep on using it, and let's see where you are. So obviously, at some point, yeah, I would say go ahead and move over to Goodwood Advance. But Yeah, it's really a question of where you are with your level of sexual health. Uh, for when we talk about testosterone levels, some people just have naturally high testosterone levels, and they don't necessarily come down at the same rate, and it really depends on what you're doing. So typically, our testosterone levels are highest in maybe let's say mid 20s, and goes down by 1% per year depending on what you're doing. So if you're a person who's really healthy, you're getting your good sleep, you're eating energy, you're getting your sun, I mean, just doing all the right things, then yeah, you're fine. You're healthy. If you haven't been, you got the weight going on, you're eating a lot of sugar, all these different things. You need to go through a process of changing. That's when you need to, especially if you're older, you need to have the good with advance. So uh, it's on you. You can keep on going with the African fly. You can move over to the good with advance whenever you want to. The main thing, though, guys, is whatever you're doing, pay attention, because it could be good and bad. I've talked to guys. It's like they're like, oh, I was taking African flower, I was taking Goodwood, and I really didn't see any, I didn't feel any changes. And it's like, all right, so well, when you had sex, was it better? I was like, well, yeah, yeah, yeah. Did you last longer? Oh, gonna think about it, I did last longer. It's like, well, then it worked. But what ends up happening, because you're taking a natural product, it feels so natural. It's just like, oh, it just works, and it's supposed to. It's supposed to just work. Um, that's the way your body is supposed to just work. So a lot of times people think you're going to get the jitters or something like that. It's like, oh, I feel so. I just took this, and we often tell guys you can take this as a pre-workout, you know, because it helps with your testosterone. I had some other guys tell me this when we first started putting out African Fly. They were like, "Yeah, I use it for my workouts," and it's like, "Oh, well, yeah, it does increase your stamina, it increases your testosterone, so of course that makes sense." But guys would take it, and they're used to taking like a pre-workout that gives you the pre-work is, once again, it's like medicine. They're like, we're going to do one thing. We're just going to get you so you can just go in and lift. And what happens when you go in there and you lift, you just jittery, and you just got all this caffeine. You got this, they put all that sugar in there, or fake sugar. I don't even know what's going on in those things. But all those extra calories, and so you feel great as you're lifting, but the results are, hey, you just had a bunch of caffeine and a whole bunch of sugar and calories. Uh, what's the change going to be? Not helpful. Not helpful. So, cool, cool, cool. Great question, guys. Great question. And yeah, I want to thank everybody for hopping on. This is Goodwood University office hours. We are here 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you want to join us tomorrow, we will be talking about how to last all night with stronger erections. Give a shout out to right quick to Fred for hopping on first. Curtis, Carl, Splash 1976, Mission Impossible. What's going on with your Eben? Mr. Anderson. All right. Yeah. Everyone, Brooklyn Gift. I like that, man. Mr. Sims, audio, Mr. Moore, especially with the super chat. Appreciate you. Yeah, check us out tomorrow. It's been a pleasure. If you got any other questions, leave that in the comment section. I'll try to pick that up tomorrow. But thank you very much. This is Brian, aka Uncle B, saying, get your game up and go hard. Peace out.